Hello everyone, this is Kona, and thank you for tuning in to another TF2 commentary. Now let's talk about game developers and how thinking about a game developer can sometimes influence the way you think about the game in general. I want to talk about this because I recently watched a video from Maximilian, a YouTube channel that I'm subscribed to, and he said that he's quitting Call of Duty. And I thought that was kind of interesting because I quit Call of Duty recently too. You know, it's not just something that he's going through. I think many people are going through this, and I was trying to understand the reason why I just didn't want to play Call of Duty anymore. When I was younger, I used to always get hype over a new game that came out or a new game in a franchise that I liked came out, and that's all I really cared about. I really cared about only the game, and I didn't really look at who actually made the game. But I found that as I grew older, I started to take notice as to who are the creators of these games, and it doesn't have to apply to only games. It can apply to things like technology, things like movies and TV shows. You know, if a movie comes out and the original one was awesome, and then you watch the sequel, it's not so good, and you're like, why isn't that so? You know, and then you start looking into it and be like, oh, maybe it's directed by someone different people are on, you know, making it. And I found that with games, it can also be like that as well. I, like many other people, enjoy playing Valve games, and it's not just because the games are good, but it's because Valve made them. You know, when the new thing comes out by Valve, because they made so many other great things in the past, it sort of has this reputation tied to whatever Valve makes. And I know probably Valve has really high standards for production stuff, for, you know, their production quality before anything gets released. And I like that kind of company who takes the time to say, like, yeah, it's going to be released when it's done. You know, the whole Valve type thing. You know, the reason why I think that they create such great things is because they really think it through. That's why they had to invent this whole Valve time as sort of an excuse to say, guys, hold on, it's going to be done when it's done, but it's going to be awesome. Now, I'm not saying that these companies can do no wrong, because sometimes I feel like they might have screwed up a little on something, and I'm okay to say, even though I'm a big fan of the company, I'm okay to say that something might have failed and it probably is not going the way that they expected it. I think that's what they did with Alien Swarm. I think that's one example I'm trying to think of, that Valve, you know, like, it didn't seem like Alien Swarm lived up to the expectation of what Valve usually makes. So in that case, that might have been a fail, but they've created so many great things that I think I can let that one go. Now, the Steam box, which is supposed to come out this year, I'm not so sure about, because Valve, to me, is a software company. That's what they excel at, and that's what they provide, is good software, good games, good services. But this is their first attempt at doing something hardware related. Now, I'm not really sure if Valve is going to, they're probably going to, but I'm not sure if they're going to make their own Steam machine, because they've asked a lot of these other companies who specialize in making hardware to make Steam machines, and a lot of them were featured at CES this year. I've been trying to watch it closely. Valve actually made a public appearance at CES. Surprise. It was a very short appearance. It was actually about 8 minutes long. That's how long the press conference was. When every other company's press conference was like an hour, Valve was there for 8 minutes. Gabe talked a little bit, and then the rest of the time was just talking with the developers of Steam boxes. So I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, Valve moving into this hardware space is going to be kind of interesting and kind of weird for a lot of people. But I think more people are going to be willing to adopt a Steam machine because Valve is behind this whole thing. I think if it was a random company that I didn't know, it would be a bigger risk for me to try and get this brand new thing. But because Valve has this reputation of creating great things, a lot of great things. Again, not everything is good, but they create a lot of good stuff. Because they have this reputation that everyone notices, you know, I feel like the Steam machine might actually have a chance to be successful. Maybe not as successful as these other consoles, but they might be starting this new kind of way of thinking about gaming in a living room. Now, going back to Call of Duty for a second, I think the reason why I decided to quit Call of Duty is because I started to notice the developers of Call of Duty rather than the game franchise itself. The guys who made the game that hooked me the most, you know, Modern Warfare 2, those games was just really awesome. And unfortunately, a lot of those guys who worked on that left after that whole Activision thing to make Respawn Entertainment, which is why I'm actually really excited about Titanfall this upcoming year. It's, you know, Titanfall looks pretty cool. I mean, it's very high tech and stuff like that, and it's going to be interesting. But I also know in the back of my mind that these are the guys who made Call of Duty, the ones that got me hooked, the really awesome ones. And I feel like they have more in them to create even better stuff, and that's why I think a lot of people are also excited about Titanfall as well. They have expectations for Titanfall because they know this history about the developers. Another game that I'm really excited for because of the developer is Star Wars Battlefront. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't really play the originals. I've seen some gameplay. It looked okay, but the reason why I'm excited about the new Battlefront coming out is because DICE is going to be making it, and DICE is, of course, the developer who makes the whole Battlefield series. I love the Battlefield series, especially when they started to talk more about the engine itself, the Frostbite 3 engine. I really like that kind of stuff because it shows that the company is not only creating things for a certain game franchise, they're creating important technologies that can be used in other ways and in different games. And I can just imagine what Battlefront is going to look like and feel like when they use the Frostbite 3 engine. I think it's going to be pretty cool. So I sort of have this expectation for DICE creating new games. Now, I'm not saying that only good games can come from game companies with high reputations. Sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised by certain games, like Minecraft. Came from this one guy. I didn't even know who he was, but I tried it and it was pretty good, and I was very glad that I actually had that. So I respect those kinds of things too. Now, my question for you guys is, what influences the way you think about a certain game? Is it just the gameplay itself or the game itself alone and you don't care about who made it? Or do you kind of look into who made it and that sort of influences your decision? Let me know in the comments below. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching and have a nice day.